Can you go to couch to ultra marathon? You ever thought about going from zero to an ultra marathon? Maybe it's your first time. Wondering how to train for an ultra the right way without burning out or getting injured? Well, let's break it down. So I'm Dr. Peralta, a physical therapist and run coach, and over the past 10 years I've helped runners, everyday runners in the 30s and 40s, transform into endurance athletes, whether it's going out, getting out of pain, or crushing their first race, maybe their first ultra. I've seen it all. Today I'm going to walk you through the 4 keys to training for an ultra marathon. And stick around if you want to run pain-free or faster. You can check out my free training link, the link in the description. So, in ultras, any distance beyond 26.2 miles. Most common entry point is a 50K, that's 31 miles. But if you want more of a challenge, you can train for an 80K. And if you're not ready yet, that's okay. Build your aerobic base first with consistent running. Make sure, that you can at least do a marathon or maybe a half marathon, right? Start building up your aerobic fitness and then tackle the ultra marathon. And then when setting a goal, use a SMART framework. It should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right? Like if you never ran a 5K, make sure you could do a 5K before you start going to the bigger distances, right? You should be able to do a marathon before you're doing an ultra marathon. I had a runner once who wanted to run an ultra, but never set a date. It wasn't until she committed to a race on the calendar that things clicked. Don't be vague, make it real. You'll need 16 to 24 weeks, depending on your base, right? So you're going to pick a date, give yourself enough time, right? Be realistic. Don't think if you haven't run an ultra marathon, you're just going to run one tomorrow, right? Give yourself enough time to train, usually 4 months or even maybe 5 or 6 months. Right, depending on how big of the distance, right? A shorter, like a 50K, is going to need less time to prep than a 100K race. Obviously pick a training plan. So now we go to part 2. You're going to pick a training plan that's specific to the race you want to run, right? So again, if you want to run a 50K race, pick a training plan that's going to help you train for a 50K race and gives you enough time to prep. Your plan should include a weekly long run. You should see the weekly mileage or kilometers increase week by week. You should have a speed day and a tempo day, right, to build on threshold, your lactate threshold. So even though the ultra marathon is going to be a lot slower race than a 5K, you're still going to want to build up your fatigue resistance. And a great way to do that, to be a stronger runner, is through speed work and tempo runs. And then obviously you should have aerobic base training as well. So a lot of easy zone 2 running. Big fan of the 80-20 approach or 80-20 method. 80% of your runs easy, 20% hard. Cross training, like cycling or swimming, should be built in. And then there should also be some strength training. But a lot of times these running plans are just pure running. So you're going to have to find a separate strength training plan to pair with the running plan. And then you also want to do your training when you're training for your ultra marathon, specific to where the run's going to occur, right? If it's going to occur on a trail, you want to do your ultra run training on trails, right? You don't want to just train purely on treadmills. And then if your race is outdoor on all this uneven terrain, you're like, whoa, your body's going to be shocked and it's going to be in for a big surprise. And then train with the gear you're going to use, right? Whether it's going to be, if it's the race is going to be a multi-day, overnight, you're going to get a headlamp, you're going to have your hydration vest, trail running shoes, right? Again, because if you're on uneven terrain, muddy terrain, climbing over rocks and obstacles, you want trail shoes, not just regular running shoes, right? I once coached a marathoner who was training for her first 50K. She just had 16 weeks, and why did she get success? Because she already had a solid aerobic base. She was already experienced marathon runner, and now she just picked a small goal, right? She wanted to do her first 50K. We worked towards doing the 50K, and she was well prepared. She had the right trail shoes. She had her hydration vest, right? She was without a plan. You're failure to plan is planning to fail. So make sure you have a plan, and it doesn't mean the plan may change or deviate a little bit, but have a good roadmap of where you want to go. Next, you want to do strength training. So strength training doesn't just make your legs faster, to keep you in the race when fatigue hits. Focus on lower body exercise, right? Running is a lot on the legs, but also the core and upper body as well. But the legs, we want squats, split squats, lunges, deadlift, and core work, right? Planks, pal-off presses, rotational work. And you need to do hours in the gym, even 2 to 3 times per week with a full body routine can be enough, single sets of failure. If you like high volume routines, that's fine, but you're just wasting time and wasting energy. Especially if you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you just want to be an ultra runner or a distance runner, just do single sets of fatigue. You'll get the benefits of strength training without spending so much time in the gym. Aim to build towards 1.5 to 2 times body weight on a key list. For example, on the squat, right? The squat's very important, right? So if you're a 100-pound runner, you should be able to squat like 150 pounds on the barbell back squat or front squat. or even 2 times body weight if you're more advanced. I used to spend hours in the gym lifting, right? But when I shifted to a single set of failure approach, I maintained my strength with my workouts only being about 20 minutes per strength workout, which is single set fatigue, full body, right? So at the end of the week, I was only spending like an hour a week in the gym, like lifting weights less time, and I still got the similar results to high volume, multiple sets and reps. So don't think you have to spend hours and hours in the gym. Nutrition, ultra running is also a fueling game. You can have the best training in the world, but if you don't fuel properly, game over, right? You don't have enough fuel to fuel your body. So let's say you're a 150-pound runner, you're gonna aim for about 450 grams to 600 grams of carbohydrates, right? Protein, 100 to 150 grams, and fat, 75 grams. And let's break that down, right? Because you're like, oh, but how about if I'm not a 150-pound runner? Well, what does that look like for me? So, as a general rule, let's start with carbs. That's 3 to 4 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. Protein, that's 0.65 to 1 gram per pound for every gram of protein for every pound that you weigh. And then for fat, that's 0.5 gram of fat for every pound you weigh. So you also want to make sure you're hydrating, right? You're hydrating, aim for about 3 to 4 liters of water every day. Now you also want to make sure you get servings of fruits and vegetables, so like about 5 servings of fruits and veggies, so 2 cups of fruit, 2 to 3 cups of veggies daily. That's also important. And then while you're doing the long run or the ultra, train with the fuel you plan to use. So for example, using your gel packets, right? And for an ultra run, it's usually about 60 to 90 grams of carbs per hour, right? So you may get gel packets that are 20 to 30 grams. They may take 3, 4, 5 gel packets in an hour to get your 90 grams of carbs or so. And every hour, then you're also making sure you're getting electrolytes, so sodium, so salts, sodium chloride, 300, 420 milligrams of sodium, and then maybe be 600 milligrams in hot or humid conditions, and then 16 to 24 ounces of fluid. That's a half liter to 0.75 liters of fluid while you're on the track or while you're on the race. So on my first marathon, I didn't test my fueling. I grabbed a Gatorade endurance formula at the aid station, and my stomach just flipped. It got really upset. So lesson, never try something new on race day. Train your gut too, and any fueling or like Gatorade or whatever brand you choose to use, make sure you're training it way before race day to see if your stomach agrees with it. Maybe you find that you can't tolerate a certain brand, you have to try something else. Or maybe you just could tolerate whole foods, like I'm a big fan of dates, for example, or maple syrup for getting some quick carbs on the race. So, pro tips, train on the same train you'll race on. Use your race day shoes, so your trail running shoes, especially if your ultra is a trail ultra, and then the gear on your long runs. Again, you want to train with the gear you plan to use, so it's not brand new to you on race day. So train for an ultra is possible, even if you're starting from scratch. If you need the right plan, the right fuel, and the right mindset. If you want help building your ultra training strategy while staying injury-free, check out my free training. I'll link in the description. Hit that like button if this was useful, and subscribe if you want more tips to become a stronger, smarter, and faster runner.